When you book into a hotel for the weekend, you might expect the occasional noisy guest, but not ones that have been dead for over 100 years. At the George and Pilgrim Inn, they've had a number of complaints from guests about noise. People have heard pianos playing, parties going on, and goodness knows what else. But exactly what's causing it? We spoke to the manageress, Anne Wilde, to tell us more about the strange experiences that have been going on in the hotel.
The George and Pilgrim's Hotel was built around 1200 and it was rebuilt in 1475. I believe that there'd been a fire just prior to that. It's always been a hostelry and it was linked to the Abbey for many, many years. There's a passageway down in the cellar that they used to go to and from. Here at the George and Pilgrims we've had lots of sightings of ghosts, and there's been many, many stories that people have told us.
Jackie has worked at the George and Pilgrim Hotel for a number of years and has experienced the ghosts that walk down the passageways of this old and historic inn.
Here at the George and Pilgrim Hotel I've had one or two experiences. In this very room was the first place I ever saw something. It was just like a movement at the side of my eye, and I used to see that quite often. They didn't tell me at that time that the place was haunted in case I didn't stay. And I asked whether it was haunted, and they said, oh no, of course not, knowing full well that there were stories about ghosts in nearly every room. And one day I was in the confessional, which is a room at the end of the corridor, and I saw a young woman come up over the stairs, a young woman with dark hair. I never really looked to see what she was wearing, but she came past the room, and I smiled at her, and she looked very austere and just carried on down the corridor. And I thought, well, that's funny, because there's no one staying there. And I went straight down, looked in both rooms, and there was no one there. And she was just flesh and blood. She looked like, a real person. So that was quite extraordinary when I realised that she wasn't actually there.
So, what about the guests here? What have they experienced here at the hotel?
In Abbot de Beer's room, there was a Welsh couple staying, and they had three very strange things happen. She fell over and broke her arm when she came through the door. She dropped a glass and broke it in the room, and that night her husband dreamed of this old lady sitting on the end of the bed, and he woke up and he still saw her, and he was very unnerved about that. Room 9, which is in the new wing and wasn't thought to be haunted, and a young American couple in there at 2 o'clock in the morning were woken up by the sound of a children's party, and the next morning they asked me what was going on last night, and I said, well, it certainly wasn't a function. The function room is below there, and there certainly was no function going on, and certainly there wouldn't be children there. So, that was another thing of hearing things. And he had actually turned over to go to sleep, and the lights from the town were shining through the curtains. There's a certain amount of light in there, and he was looking towards the window, and this shadow passed across his vision. There was nobody there either. So there have been varied things with guests. One heard a baby crying in King Henry VIII's room, and that is said to be haunted by monks that sit in a circle, and they're just sitting, they've been seen, 6 of them. I've never seen them.
So how many ghosts actually haunt the inn?
I would say there were 3 separate appearances of ghosts at the George and Pilgrim, but if you count the 6 monks.
With all the ghosts that haunt the inn, has anyone actually left because of them?
A few. I've had only a handful of people in the time that I've been here that have actually booked in and gone into one of the older rooms, because we have 8 that are in the original building, and then we have 5 that are in a newer part of the building, and they've not, several have not been happy, can just feel the sense and have left, but in all, most people enjoy that situation, and that's why they come to the George and Pilgrim.
Well, clearly the George and Pilgrim has a number of things to offer guests, other than the usual things you'd find in a hotel, like ghosts, for example. But would you be brave enough to spend a night there?